Okay, so in the last video we put together our entire planned expenditures model, our entire Keynesian cross model, and now we're going to think a little more deeply about it because as you noticed in a video or two ago, if aggregate planned expenditures changes, we get a larger change in real GDP. And that's what we're going to discuss now, or start to discuss now. So, we've got real GDP on the horizontal axis. We've got aggregate expenditures on the vertical axis. We have our 45-degree line, okay? And we have our aggregate planned expenditures. Okay, so this is C plus I0 plus G0 plus NX0. And right now the economy is operating at equilibrium for this model at some amount of real GDP, given some level of aggregate expenditures. Okay, now obviously, if this curve shifts up, okay, real GDP increases. If this curve shifts down, real GDP falls. Specifically, if we get an increase in IG or exports, okay, or exports, we get an upward shift to this line. If we get an increase in imports, however, remember, NX equals exports minus imports, okay? If we get an increase in imports, however, this line shifts down. And why is that? Because we're purchasing goods from other countries. Our money is going abroad. That draws money out of our economy, okay? If export goes up, this line goes up. Why? Because we are selling goods to other economies and their money is coming in to feed our economy. So our GDP increases, okay? And then vice versa. If C falls, I falls, G falls, or exports fall, this line shifts down. If imports fall, this line shifts up, okay? So hit replay on the video and go back over that. That's very important, okay? That's very important, all the dynamics I just mentioned. Having said that, assume that autonomous investment increases by X amount of dollars. And I'm going to try and make this line as parallel to the original line as possible, okay? So investment, autonomous investment shifts by this amount here, from that much to that much, okay? Now, if we notice, however, that little bit of an increase in I0 results in a much larger increase in real GDP. This we call the multiplier effect. Okay, this we call the multiplier effect. And here's how we explain the multiplier effect. Imagine this. Imagine that I give you, or let's just say I change autonomous investment by $100. Okay, so you're a firm, I give you extra $100. It just comes out of the blue. Who knows where it comes from? Doesn't matter right now. Okay, that $100 in investment is going to go into the worker's pockets as income, right? and the suppliers of the resources that this investment buys as income, right? So then we're going to get a change in income of $100. Now, out of that change in income of $100, let's assume the marginal propensity to consume equals 0.8, okay? So in other words, if someone's income changes by $100, they're going to consume 80 of it and they're going to save 20, okay? So initially, this firm gets $100 to invest. They invested. This becomes income to the workers and the resource inputs that that investment used. Out of that income, people are going to consume $80 of it. So you get a change in consumption equal to $80. Well, this consumption goes into someone's cash register. And again, this increases someone else's income by $80, okay? Because someone takes out our cash out of the cash register, pays their employees, pays their resource inputs, etc. So this increases income by $80. People consume 0.8 of that, or $64. So then we get a change in consumption equal to $64, okay? Now we're getting beyond my mathematical capabilities here, okay? So now so people consume $64 of the 80. That goes into cash registers, becomes someone's income. So then people consume 0.8 of that. So 64 times 0.8 equals 51.20. So then consumption changes by 51.20. Then that goes into cash registers. People take that out as income. They consume 0.8 of that times 0.8 equals 40.96. So then change in consumption then equals 40.96, right? And this continues until this change in consumption goes to zero, okay? But you can see that this initial $100 change in investment resulted in 100 plus 80 plus 64 plus 51.20 plus 40.96 and so on and so on. It's going to result in far more increase in GDP through changes in consumption than just the initial $100 injection did. That is the multiplier effect.